We're gonna be talking today about drones, about drone rules for farmers, and also try to explain better and kind of simplify some stuff that sometimes it's kind of like too much information, right? Just a fun fact, and Tiffs and I used to work with the same drone that you guys are seeing right now, and I just remember this guy fully loaded, man, was really heavy to get on the truck. But anyway, today, okay, let me see. Okay, perfect. Drones. Let's talk about those. So, who this is for? Some people, some farmers actually think about this not for them, but actually this could be for a lot of people, a lot of farmers around Georgia, around the country. So this is for row crops, vegetables, fruits, and livestock farmers in Georgia around. Crop consultants and agricultural services providers, and anyone consider buying buying a drone or hiring someone to do some farm operations. So this is gonna be about this. What are we gonna cover today? Drones in modern agriculture. We're gonna cover the part of registration and certification that sometimes gets some people confused. We're gonna cover the flying rules, the airspace, and where you can fly or where you cannot fly, and also some special rules, waivers, and remote ID. So the drones in modern agriculture. When we talk about this, what this means actually and why farmers are adopting these drones more and more. In Georgia, at least, is growing rapidly. Many Georgia farmers report much faster scouting comparing to walking fields, because the drones could save then a lot of time. Drones, image drones, discounting drones, not these one that you guys can see in the image, the smaller ones, those are spraying drones. The smaller ones can cover and scout some areas like 100 plus acres in minutes, not the other ones or hours of walking that we normally do. Also, the drones, the good thing about them, they save money. So when sometimes you have like, for example, you need to do a spot spraying in some part of your area, not the whole field. The drones could save you a lot of money with that, with spot spraying in just affected areas. Could also catch pests and diseases much before they spread with a good image drone. You can see really your field and see where you need to take more care or not, and also helps to do better decisions, right? So aerial imagery really could reveal some crop stresses invisible for the ground and sometimes invisible even for our eyes, because drones, the cameras have spectrums that they can cover with this. But this is more technical talking. And also some document fields conditions and for insurance claims, for example. So the point is the adoption is growing in Georgia, and all, but in all the aspects, in row crops, vegetables, and tree fruits, no problem at all. The common uses for the farmers. So you ask me like, how can I use that? So you can use, as I say, in crops counting, as I said, identifying pests and diseases, hotspots. Sometimes you can't reach the place, you can't reach the area, so the drone can do it for you. Uh, Detect some, right now we had a lot of time, unfortunately, with drought stress in Georgia. So sometimes detect some places in your area that needs more attention. Target spraying, as I said, some spot sprayings where you don't need to apply in the whole area. You can just apply in some points. That's helping you a lot for that. Also, mapping and documentation. Now talking more about the image drones itself. They can generate some field boundaries for maps. Sometimes, in the most part of the times, when you have this type of operation, you use the small drones to map your area. Then you import this file to your biggest drones, your spraying drones. So there you have the whole map already identified and already divided for the spraying paths. it helps the work from the farmer and from the operator on these times. Also, livestock and pasture, locating missing cattle, for example, you can use your drone for that. The monitor as also the forest condition across your area, and also to compliance and reporting. You can use the image drones for that as well. So what counts about a drone? Like, what's a drone? What it is? The FAA definition, at least. And the official FAA term for that, for the drone, is a small unmanned aircraft system, SUAS. These aircraft, those needs to be less than 55 pounds for takeoff. This includes with the batteries, with the cameras, spray tanks, whatever. Everything that gonna take off needs to be included on that one. They needs to be operated remotely, so that means with no pilot in the aircraft itself. And the most common types in agriculture that you guys may saw already are the multi-rotor or the quadcopter, the hexacopter, those ones that we normally see. They are the most common and they are really good for scouting. That the ones that I mentioned before. Some the most common brand right now for scouting drones probably is DJI. DJI is the most common one they are selling now. Also, the fixed wings. What are the fixed wings? They are the same of an aircraft, but they're smaller. So you can fly those ones. They cover more area with longer flight times, but they don't have the agility of the other one. And the hybrid VTOL, they are the same fixed wings, but they can do the vertical takeoff. So they have like a propeller here and they can do that and fly away. So that means above 55 pounds, different rules apply. That means the spraying drones, for example. So large spraying drones, the DJI Egress T40, T50, the XAG P100 Pro, which is the one that was in the first image in my slides. But these ones fall under like a separate FAA process. This is another thing, okay? So now we're gonna talk a little bit about the registration and certification. So what type of drone flyer are you? So what type of pilot are you? FAA recognized 4 categories of drone operators. The first one, the recreational flyer, like a person that flies just like for personal enjoyment, just because he wants, because like it's cool. So with no business purpose. This is the first one. The second one, which the most farmers are on it, the Part 107, certified pilot. This is for commercial use. So if you're gonna fly at some way, you're gonna use those data or that images for commercial use. This is Part 107. The third one, public safety or government. So law enforcement, fire stations, federal agencies, something like this. And the educational one, the one that I flew in Tifton, for example, because we were UGA. So it means schools, universities, and STEM programs. So if you are on that one, like experimental areas, you are on these categories. So how to know if I am on the Part 107 or not, if I need to be there? So the first question that you need to know, are you using the drones to support any business activity? If yes, you are. And like even scouting some areas that are yours, they are considered business activities by FAA because it's gonna benefit your area, you know? And also flying just for fun are recreational, cool. But the moment that you use this data, so it becomes commercial. So you need to be aware of that. And to help that, you guys have in the most part of the slides, some decision tool that you guys can see here, for example. Also, one thing that I need to say to you guys can use those slides every time you want. It gonna be to you as a manual, like a simplified something to use step by step. I'm gonna send to Luke, and Luke can send to you guys later. So the first one, I'm gonna register myself in the FAA drone zone. That's the first thing that I need to make sure to use. It's you need to access this website here, FAA drone zone access.faa.gov. This is a free account. You can sign up using your email. At my time, the cost for registration it was $5 per registration, which is valid for 3 years, and you can use like a credit or debit card. Uh, one number of this registration covers all your drones, so you get one number, just one FAA number, and the registration will be under your name, and you can put like as many drones as you have. This process is really quick, takes about 10 minutes, so it's just that it will be fine. And here we have the registration process step by step. So if we have these, if we use these ready before you start, it will be much simple for you guys. So you go in the website and you need to just have the normal stuff that we normally do, that we normally have to go in these kind of websites: email address, physical and mailing address, the drone make, model, and serial number, and the credit card just to use normal stuff. And where to find the serial number. Sometimes some people don't find so easily. So usually they are on a stick, like normally a white stick with a barcode code or something like this inside the battery or the battery compartment. So when you take the battery out, you're gonna see probably there. It's normally there. And also in the original boxes, in the original stuff that came with the drone, you can find this number as well. So after you pay that, FAA emails you a certificate by PDF. You can print that, and you can save a copy you print a copy. You can save in your phone and in your truck just to be with you when you're gonna use. And this step here, it's kind of often missed because you register online, then you still have to physically mark your drone. So you still have to put this number in your drone. Some people don't mark, and sometimes the law just came to them, and sometimes it's quite a bit of money to spend on that. So what you need to do is basically after registration, you must mark your drone. If you can use like a pen, like a pen that's gonna be there. So you can use your FAA registration number, so not a random number. So they said the mark be legible, so at least like this size, I think it will be fine. Must be durable, so you need to use a correct pen for that. It must be visible, so when some people from the law comes and see the drone, must be there. So some people like to put on a label, like some people like to put in a label in the battery or in the drone's body, which would be fine too. It just needs to be visible and stick it really good there. So talking about now, let's pass through the commercial pilot certificate, the Part 107 that we're talking about. So the Part 107, what is this? Is the rule that applies for commercial small drone operations. So it's codified by the 14 CFR Part 107 in federal regulations. It requires the operator to hold a remote pilot certificate. So it's kind of like a drone driver license, let's say like this. So it's required for any commercial drone activity, including farming. Here, you have what areas, what cover operations, what operations the certification covers, which are scouting your own fields, spraying for prey or your own farm business. So, like, let's say your neighbor call you and said, "Can you spray the field for me?" And I gonna pay you something. So this gonna apply on this rule. Mapping for crop insurance documentation. So anything that benefits a business, if even your own, it to be part of that. And as I said to you guys, civil penalties for violations can be substantial, and some like FAA fines can be more than thousands and thousands. So be aware of that. And who is eligible to get the Part 107? Who can do that? Who can do the test and be approved for do that? You must be at least 16 years old. So some people in high school even can have this one. So you need to read, speak, write, and understand English. So you need to be in a physical and mental condition to safely operate a small UAS and pass the FAA initial aeronautical knowledge test, which I'm gonna talk a bit about later, and pass a TSA secured background check. You don't need to fly. You don't need to have flight experience to take this test. Like unlikely traditional pilot test for aircraft, you don't need to have this experience yet. And it's a pure knowledge-based exam, so you can go through you can go to these airports, and there you can take this test in a normal a normal office to take a test. And the normal aircraft pilots, they have this Part 621 on it. And like current Part 621 pilots can take a free online course instead of the full test because they did a lot of instructions there already. So the knowledge test. The knowledge test is much like 60 questions. It normally takes 2 hours to complete, and you need to have at least 70% of approval. That means you need to get approved at least 24 questions correctly. The cost is about $175 and any FAA approved testing center. So the testing centers across Georgia are including Atlanta, Macon, and Savannah. Um, I believe, I'm not sure about this one, but you guys can see in the website. It could be more. It could be more. So the topics covered on the test are the regulations, the total part 107, the airspace classification and operation requirements that we're going to talk a bit about, aviation weather and weather effects, and aircraft loading, performance, and decision making about this one. So what you need to bring on the test day that you're gonna do, just your drive license, I believe it will be fine. And what you cannot bring any kind of like phone, smartwatch, whatever, electronic or material to study notes, anything like this, like normal tests do that. And the results you can get back after you finish the test, you get your results, and as soon as you get passed, approved on that, uh, the certification process starts like they said, normally 3 days, 5 days, or something like this. If you fail, you need to wait 14 days before do the other test and pay the fee again. Most people pass, get approved on the first one, but you need to have a bit of study. I underestimated this test, And a lot of people say that they didn't study so much for the beginning and they need to reduce. So like 2 3 weeks of study, I think it will be fine. How are you going to study for that? Where you can find some places that you can get this material? Oh, we have 10 minutes, right,
Yeah,
brother?
we're at the 10-minute mark before we have to change links because
Do
of
you want to
the.
change?
Let's use the next 10 minutes and then we'll try to hop on the next one.
Okay, if you want to change now, it will be okay for me too. It's really up to you.
Yeah, just go ahead and do the next like 8 minutes and then we'll switch it out.
Sounds good. So where you can find this material? They are free in the official FAA website, and they have a PDF guide for that. I can try to find these ones and send to you guys with send to look. And they have some questions, that simple test questions with some explanations that you can study for them as well. Airman certification standards, so defines exactly what is tested. They are paid online as well, $50 to $300. I'm not sure which one. And they have a lot of material there. They have free video resources. They have the suggested plan like that. You need to study 2 to 3 weeks to get approved. So they have all the material. You guys can check on these slides later as well. So as you get approved on the certification, and you need to renew that. So let's say that you guys gonna take this test, you get approved, your license will expire, and you want to renew that. So it's the renewal cycle. It's every 24 calendar months. So at every 2 years, you need to renew that, and you also don't need to pay for that because it's free. The renew is free. And you just need to get in the website, faasafety.gov, and you have about some videos and quizzes there that you can redo, and you can renew your certification, but set a reminder on your calendar, because some people forget that and they just gonna figure out on your past what 3 years or something like this, and you need to redo everything again. So just be aware of this one. Uh, so when we talk about rule flying under rule on the part 107, we talk about to know these rules as well. So you're just gonna be able to fly 400 feet above ground level, not sea level. AGL. AGL means above your local terrain. So I'm gonna show you guys that gonna make sense. So we have an exception here. As you can see here, the normal aircrafts. Can you guys see my mouse? My mouse point there or no? Okay, perfect. So you guys can see here the normal aircraft flying here, but we just can fly uh, below 400. But we have some exceptions. When are those exceptions? And the tall structure exceptions. So like if you need to see like above these structures, like for example, Spanish, oh, I'm sorry, to silos, grain elevators, center pivot. So when you need to fly above that, you have this exception to be above the top. So exception within 400 feet of a structure, you may fly up to 400 feet above its top. So that means the tall structure exception. So and how to stay compliant, like modern drones, then the most part of the drones right now, they're gonna show you the real-time altitude in the controller, in the remote. So this is not gonna be a problem. You just need to be aware of this. And you can set a soft altitude limit in the drone app before flying. before you take off, you can go in your configurations, in your settings, and you can set this altitude with them. Also, you need to be aware of the VLOS, the visual line of sight. You must always see your drone with your own eyes when you're flying. So if you say like, no, I'm gonna use my binoculars, or I'm not gonna use because I trust the GPS. Don't do that. Don't do that. You need to be aware. You need to be aware where your drone is located every time. And when I say that, I literally means you need to be seeing your drone and flying, going there and there. Because if the tree lines are on the middle and you can't see that, it's not good. It's not good. So the rule says that you need to see the drone and any other aircraft, birds, and obstacles to have the time to change any plans and also to be aware where you're located. So without VLOS, you can avoid these problems. You can avoid these possible collisions with other objects. And also you can use a VO, a visual observer, so like a second person. When I used to do a lot of trials in Vidalia Research Center in Lyons, and when we were flying there, sometimes I asked for another person check the drone where I fly, or I was this another person. I was this VO. So like it's a second person that can help maintain visual contact with the drone and must be in directly communication to you. Like for example, you're gonna take a drill or something or do whatever. This person needs to be looking for the drone. So and you asked me like when you can fly, what's the right time to fly and how you can fly on those periods. You need like a special goggle or you need a special camera or something like this. So the day is kind of divided by in three times, right? So the day, the sunrise to sunset, you don't have any restrictions and no special equipment required for that. The civil twilight, 30 minutes before the sunrise and after the sunset, uh, drones allowed to fly on these times just if the drones has anti-collision lighting are normally those like red and green lights or blue. It depends of the model. And lights must be visible for three states statute miles. Also at night after civil twilight, it's allowed on the Part 107 since April of 21. It requires to have anti-collision lighting and updated knowledge training. So you need to be really aware when you're flying at nighttime. And also a tip for early morning operations, check your local sunrise time the night before and set timers to be aware of that. Also, the weather and visibility requirements. So when we talk about minimum visibility, we talk about the tree statute line. This is measured from the location of the remote piloting command. So like say that I'm here, I need to check all this angle here. So I can't fly on heavy fog, smoke, or low visibility conditions. This is like it's not acceptable by the rules. So and we have cloud clearance requirements. The ones that talks stay at least 500 below any cloud that you can see, and stay at least 2,000 feet horizontally from any cloud. So you need to be aware all these things: winds, the rain time. You need to check your weather app or weather source every time before you can fly a drone to see if you can fly a drone or not. The most part of the winds cannot safely fly above 20 to 25 miles. So I remember a lot when we were doing some trials and the mile were like more than that, we could not fly at all, at all. And you need to be aware of the code as well because batteries lose significantly power on this, so you need to be aware of that and they're not be freezing at least. And be aware of the rains as well because I don't know if some I had this in my mind before. I thought that the most part of the drones would be waterproof, but they are not. So be aware of that. Some drones can't not take any kind of water. So as I said, always check the forecast and wind before you take off. And now talking about the part 107, the operation limits. Just a quick reference for you guys that just keeping in mind that the maximum altitude to be 400 feet at AGL and the maximum speed 100 miles per hour ground speed. The maximum weight 155 pounds, including payload. So it means everything on the drone. And the visibility, the three statute miles that I told you guys about, and the cloud clearance as well. So always be aware that required conditions are the visual line of sight maintenance all the times. So looking for the drone all the times, being having contact looking during takeoff, during the landing, all the times to be aware of any problems that maybe appear. Also, the battery charge, the level of the battery, be aware of this. I saw some people losing some drones because of that, so be aware of that. And if you cannot meet any of these limits, you need a waiver. Here are kind of like the parts included in on part 107, just to you guys be aware of that. And now moving a little bit through airspace, where you can fly. So the airspace is divided by classes. So we can see here in the picture the classes that we have. The first one, the class 8, which includes the 18,000 feet and above. So they are irrelevant for drones. They are more for airspace normal classification. The classes B, C, and D, they are for control aircraft airspace around airports or of different sizes. So, for example, the class B, we can see it's a bigger figure. So there, they means major airports, Atlanta Airport, for example. And the class C, so medium airports, so we can see a smaller figure. And the class D, the small tower airports, like for small, really small operation airports. So when we talk about the class E, which are here that you can find. So they are control airspace with varying floors, sometimes at the surface. So they are just for controlled operation. And the class G is the uncontrolled classes, are most where most rural Georgia farmland is located. So they don't need FAA authorization. You don't, but you need to fly your drone there, but you don't need the FAA authorization for that. And that's about the class G is good news for drone for the farmers and for us because as an uncontrolled airspace, you can fly from the ground up to certain altitudes, varying by location. The most part of Georgia, the Class G extends up to 700 to 1,200 feet AGL. And why this is gonna matter to you? Because you can fly your drone in Class G without any authorization of FAA. You can you don't need to call anyone, you don't need to do anything to request that. You just need to follow the normal part 107 rules. So how are you gonna check that if you're gonna be good to fly in your space? You can open, I'm gonna show you guys this app, the Beautiful Fly app as your field location. It's an app that you can download on your smartphone and you can see by your location. The green means unrestricted, you're good to go, ready to fly. The yellow means that you have some restriction that gonna appears below that, and you can see, you can read those. And the red means that you can't fly at all. So this is the before you fly. This is the app that I told you guys about. It's a free FAA recognized mobile services. Uh, a couple months ago, me and Luke we had a training, and I remember this guy wasn't working so good. But I gotta make sure, and I'll let you guys know by Luke. And but this one is the one that we normally use. And what gonna tells you? It gonna tells where you can fly with your current GPS location. So, for example, you are in your field and you're just thinking about to fly right now. Can I fly here? So goes in the app, put your location, see if you can fly or not. And about these colors, they are pretty good to identify those if you can fly or not. As I said, if they have specific restrictions, they're gonna show up in the message. So, for example, it's gonna show a yellow color and it's gonna show some notice here in the back of the app. You just need to read those and check it out. Sometimes, if you're nearby to an airport, you can take it off. You can take off the drone, so be aware of that. You need to use before every flight, every time. Uh, the LAANC instant airspace authorization. So that means low altitude authorization notification capability. Uh, when you need these ones, you need to these ones when you're flying the class B, C, D, or the class E, the experimental one. Uh, Anywhere they space the airspace checks shows authorization is required, and if you need to request that, how to request that, you need to be aware if you when you put your flight plan in your location and altitude and all the subjects that you're gonna put there, you need to be aware of this one. So when we talk about the special rules, the waivers, and the remote ID, there's kind of like some rules that you need to be aware of that all the time. Like, for example, can I fly over people? Flying over people? No, you do not fly over people. This is there if they are not part of the operation. So, for example, field workers, visitors, and neighbors count as bystanders. So the only exception here, this is the rule that matters most for the farmers because they have this question sometimes. And effective by 21, they created like four categories for that. They are under cover structure. They need not the exceptions allowing flying over people. They need to be under a cover structure such as a barn or building. If they are inside a stationary or moving vehicle, if the drones qualifies as a category one, like that one from the beginning under the 055 pounds, and if the drones meets category two or three or four with a accepted means of compliance. So these ones you need to take care of it as well and be aware of those ones. Talking about the spray operations, the big drones, they are a little bit different. Uh, they involve a couple of rules at once. When you talk the federal ones, the FAA, you need to have the Part 107, which are we talked about before. You need to have the Part 137, that which are for agriculture aircraft operator certificate for spray operations. This one you need to have that for flying the spraying drones, and also you need to have the exception process for spraying drones over 55 pounds if you need if they're gonna weight that more. In Georgia, you need to have the commercial pesticide applicator license with their aerial category. So if you have the operation, this one already, you need to add this category on it, and also the EPA label, the label that must permit the aerial application. Uh, Also, if you have any questions, any doubt about that, you can contact GDA before your first spring flight and say, hey, I'm okay with that. I'm doing any violation, and they can figure out with you guys. Also, in Part 107, we have some waivers. So a waiver is an official FAA permission, so you don't follow some rules, the Part 107 rules. So they have these waivers, and you need to be you must prove that you can still operate safely despite this deviation. So if you're not gonna follow the rule, you must to prove that not gonna be safe. That needs to be safe. So also apply through FAA Drone Zone, the same portal as registration, the one that I mentioned before. Uh, Common waivers that farmers might need: the beyond visual line of sight, so the BVLOS for large farmers. So sometimes you're gonna use your spraying drone and you just can't see your drone. You need to apply for that waiver. So if someone from law comes to you and say, "Here, not you're flying but not seeing your drone," and you say, "I have this waiver to do that," and this will be fine. Also, the ones that included the operation over people when an eligible drone is not available. And the other one, operating multiple drones for one control station. This sometimes happens where you can operate multiple drones in the same station. The processing time normally takes weeks to months, and it's good to play ahead. It's free, but you need to be aware of the time if you need some time for that. And here I have the step by step to how apply for a waiver. As I said to you guys, I'm gonna send this to Luke, so you just need to follow those steps here. They're pretty easily. Remote ID. Since 2023, the remote ID, it's kind of like a digital license plate for your drone, right? So you have to do this one right now. Uh, and since that also, I'm sorry, the drone broadcasting the identification location during flight, you have two ways to comply. Uh, the first one is the standard remote ID drones. So the with capability built in, and the second one, the drones with remote ID broadcast module, and the drones without remote ID. So those three types. And add-on broadcast modules typically cost $50 to $200. So here's just a checklist that I put it here. Sometimes uh, if you're gonna apply for a Part 107, or sometimes you have some questions on it, so you can check all this checklist. You can check all this presentation that have the step by step for each one that may need of those. And the resources that where you guys can get some help and some information, the FAA websites, the apps that you're gonna need to install, the state of Georgia resources, and also the UGA extension that you can also call us, send us an email or a text message or whatever that we're gonna always try to respond you guys. And here just 5 key takeaways for you guys to be aware of that. And that's it, guys. Thank you for today. I'm sorry to not be there. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. I'll try to answer. If I don't know now, I can search a bit more, talk with my friends, and send back to Luke. But I appreciate your time and coming here today to watch us. Thank you very much.